Welcome to Relationship Bites with Wendy Ologe podcast. Relationship Bite is a platform for everything relationship. Mother-child relationship, father-daughter, siblings, sister-in-laws, parents-in-laws, everything you need to know about relationship. It is said that one of the most important needs of human is belonging. It simply means that relationship is as important as being human. I will be taking you on a journey of everything relationship. Join me, Wendy Ologe, every fortnight as we explore the intricacies of different forms of relationship, the positives, the negatives, the wins, the losses, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else in between. And most importantly, the lessons we will learn from them. Relationship Bite with Wendy Ologe is your plug for real life experiences on diverse relationships and how we can maximize these relationships for the best.
So hello and welcome back to another episode of Relationship Bites by Wendy Ologe. I'm sure you guys have missed us because it has been so long that we had this podcast. And today's topic is going to be interesting. It's going to be the most fun that we've ever had because it's going to be an age gap debate. Obviously, that means the Gen Zs versus, those other people. I know that this is partial because obviously I'm a Gen Z. My name is Chisom. And don't forget, this is Relationship Bites by Wendy Ologe. So, like I said, our topic is the age gap debate, what we were told versus what we know now about love. So it's going to be like the Gen Zs are going to say what they know, and the millennials, those other people, they're going to say what they know about love. So the first question, I think it's only right we begin with this question: what did love mean to you in your teens or like your early 20s versus now? Some people don't have early 20s, some people are still there. So just talk about your teens. So Coach Wendy, you're going to go first, and then Chairman, and then we have our Gen Zs.
Okay, so welcome again back to Relationship Bites with Wendy Ologe. And today, Chisom is our host. Chisom is asking what's the teen age. We have, in the building, different people. I think I'm not here alone. So shouldn't read the introduction before I continue.
Okay, yes, I think that's better.
Okay, so I am Wendy Ologe, and yes, we have.
And I'm Kunle Ologe. Also have in the building, August.
I'm Nonye.
Alrighty, so yes, we have the different age. I don't know what Chisom called it.
The other people.
The other people, according to her. But she was talking about what love meant. I think that as a teenager, love will usually mean something else to you than what love will mean to you as an adult. As a teenager, love will mean to you that, the person just likes me. Oh, he just wrote a letter. Oh, and all of that. As an adult, love means to me that you wake up in the morning and come and be in the kitchen with me. So I think that the age, right, it's a thing when it comes to love conversations and all of that. But of course, we have chairman in the building. He's a marriage counselor. I'm sure that he has a lot to say about this particular conversation on love.
All right, of course, it's always beautiful to be here at this podcast. And when we talk about love, truly, yes, love means different things at different age brackets of your life. When you're still young, you're still in teenage, love is more or less like you being in love. That's infatuation, and it's kind of a selfish thing, though in a good way. So it's just you having butterflies in your tummy, no responsibility attached. However, as you grow older, you realize that you actually need to attach responsibility to love. And that way, you're not just being in love, you are now loving. And there's a difference between being in love and loving. So being in love is the selfish one, just about you. Loving is selfless, where you push things to the person that you love. So as you grow older, it is expected, even though it's not always like that, funny
I
enough,
know, right?
it is expected that you evolve from or graduate from just being in love to loving.
Like being able to help wake up in the morning and you're carrying a baby.
And carrying a baby. Or cleaning the house.
Or cleaning the house, yeah.
Or driving someone to school.
I know,
I
right?
can't wait for our children to start driving. We've been harassing them recently that they will start driving next year.
Honestly, I can't even wait. Yes. So back to you, Jason.
All right. So as the one of the Gen Zs here, I'm also going to state what love meant to me then versus what it means to me now.
It has translated.
Yes, yes, it has. So the first thing, that's what it meant to me then. When I was younger, I thought, because I used to watch Barbie now, I thought like love was about butterflies in my tummy, like you said, and I also thought that it would be like a fairy tale. In fact, when I was small, I used to say when I grow up, I want to be a princess, like I want to be a ballerina, things like that. Because all these kind of people, they'll always fall in love, and that's just what I thought love was. So currently, I think love is consistency, always showing up, seeing and hearing your partner, and then vice versa. So that's, to me, that's the main thing. As long as you're consistent, then like we're good to go. We can make this work. So next we have Mr. Augustine. So tell us what you think, what's love meant to you, and what love is to you now.
Okay, growing up, I used to think that when two people get to meet themselves, they started talking, they started expressing feelings, I used to think that's love. But at this age I've come to realize that love is responsibility. You get to be very responsible. That's the part that people miss a lot. When the responsibility sets in, you discover that thing they were feeling initially, thinking it was love, they won't be able to. Some of them, they drop the ball, and of course that relationship, and it gets sinking, and you keep asking what exactly went wrong. Now, when you look at it, it occurs to you that what they thought, or what we thought when we were younger, that love actually is, that's just the infatuation, that feeling you just think you can't do without that person. When you close your eyes, it's the person's face you are seeing. Wherever, in fact, you see another person, but you'll be seeing the face of the person you claim that you love in the face of another person. But when that part of responsibility comes in, people start drifting away. That is the reality of love in the stages of when we were younger, and the real thing, I'll call it.
All right, thank you very much for yours. Noye, you look like you've had a lot to say when he was speaking. So tell us those things on your mind.
Okay, this is Noye speaking here. So I believe the question is, what did love mean to you in your teens? That is your early 20s versus now. Like everyone knows.
Are you not still in your early 20s?
No, I'm in my mid-20s.
Excuse you?
I'm in my mid-20s. I'm no longer in my early 20s. So to me personally, I've listened to everyone else speak, and some people were like, "It's butterflies in your stomach." To be honest, I've never felt butterflies in my stomach for anybody. I'm not going to lie. So I believe, even right from my secondary school, I've always believed that love should be responsibility, because coming from a home that, if you check the olden days now, the way they will marry without love. Like, so someone you just bring your husband, I want you to meet this person, that kind of arrangement. So because my family is like that, my mom had to learn to love my dad. So I've always believed that love is something you learn to do, not something that just comes up. I don't believe in love at first sight. That's when men meet me and they're like, "Oh, I love you, I do this." It's very tiring because it is something I do not believe exists. I like, right from time, I don't believe love happens that way. So I believe is when you start spending time with someone, you start getting to know them, getting to know their flaws, their weaknesses, and see, okay, this person, I feel like I can cope with this person. Then that is when you start to love them. I've been in multiple relationships with multiple people, and from my experience, I've never been with anybody I'm like, if I see them on the go, I'm like, I love this person. No, it has never happened with me. I've always been in a relationship with people that I just like their character. Like, I feel like in the long run, this is someone I can possibly love. So that is what love means to me, like, both in my teens and now. That is it.
Yeah, so you do not change. Like, that's just, it's like nobody is even going to change you at this point. Okay, like, from your question, from your statements, I realized that you said, like, is on the long run that
Yes.
you get to love, which brings me to like the next question: is love a choice or a feeling? This question, we're also going to answer it by telling us how you know that you're in love, because like you said, you don't, when you see them, your first instinct is not to love them. It's just to know that, oh, you can manage, like you can hang out with them, you can spend time with them, and then in the long run the love happens. So my question again is love a choice or a feeling? Does it just come, or you choose eventually, I can now love you? Chamra,
Okay.
you can go first. The only marriage counselor
Okay.
here.
Alright, so love is actually both a feeling and a responsibility. Like I had said before, when you are in love, when you fall in love, that's a feeling. But then when you now realize that it's just more than falling in love, it now becomes something bigger than a feeling. It becomes a responsibility to you. So you must actually embrace both sides of love. You must be able to have the feeling,
And then choose.
you must be able to now choose that, okay, this is a choice, so it's a responsibility, so I choose to love. And I've been counseling couples now for over 13 years, and one thing I try to make them understand is that there will be times when you don't love that spouse of yours. Your spouse has done something and you are no longer in love with him or her, as the case may be. However, when you remember that it is a choice, then you choose and you begin to do the things that you are supposed to do with that spouse of yours. So love is both a feeling and a choice.
So can you love someone because you do not have? Okay, so Noye was saying something about, I don't need to feel that I'm in love with this person. I can choose to love this person. Does it work like that?
When it comes to marriage, you need that ingredients of love. So you can't do it with just the choosing, or else along the line, your marriage is going to get boring. In fact, I've taught recently about the things you need to do to spice up your marriage. So you need to actually have the feelings of love. Those butterflies in your stomach, they need to come. If you
So
don't allow them
Noye,
to
how
come.
do you get the butterflies in your stomach? Come
Honestly speaking, I don't know how the butterflies appear. I don't know where they are appearing from.
You
Yes.
don't have insecticide in your tummy that
Is that
blocks everything.
exactly like right for me? It hasn't been like that for me. I don't know. I'm speaking from my own experience. So I just believe that when I meet someone, I don't even believe that my marriage can ever get boring. Why? Because when you choose to love someone, then you cannot just choose to love any kind of person. Right, so you love someone that, okay, you know, this person compliments you, you like, this person is your friend. It's possible to marry your friend, like you're not in love with them, but if you marry someone that is your friend, right, there's no, I don't think there's any way that your marriage will get boring, because this person is willing to try out stuff with you. And like I said, along the way, it's possible to fall in love with them. I don't believe in the butterfly phase. Sorry.
Okay, so that's interesting, and the truth of the matter is that when people don't get to that butterfly phase, what has happened is that you have not allowed yourself to be vulnerable. Now people are afraid to let go. So part of what happens
So
when
you're holding on to
so
something.
you're holding on to something, you are trying to keep yourself in a particular state. It's almost like saying you are holding a hot pot, and then it's burning you, but you have chosen not to feel it. So you need to also, in relationships, you need to also allow yourself to be vulnerable. Now, there's some people who will not allow themselves to be vulnerable, probably because of past experiences, things they have seen, and so something inside them tells them, no, I can't just let go. But if you really want that relationship to have the sparks in it, then you must learn to let go. However, let go with the right person.
So does it mean that, so Nonya brought an argument that is actually quite interesting as far as I'm concerned. You know, she was talking about how the people in the old got married, and you know, you come into the family, you know, somebody recommends you or something, and then you know, you begin to love. I actually think this is my thought, that loving a man for a woman, it's not it's not the same thing as a man loving a woman. So I think that men need to fall in love.
I agree.
And I do not think that women need to be heads over heels in love, right? You need to, because it's a different conversation for a woman. That's why, I usually say that the Bible says a man should love, a woman should submit. I think that the more responsibility for a woman is to submit more than it is to love. In quotes. I'm saying in quote because whoever you're going to submit to, you're going to eventually, love the person, right? But I think that for a woman, if you look that love thing,
Yes.
if you fall into trouble.
And this is also a very interesting twist to the whole thing. So going back to that part of the instructions of God on a man to love and a woman to submit, the truth of the matter is that the way a woman is created, she loves naturally.
Exactly. So you can really love anybody.
she loves naturally. She falls in love naturally. So that's why there's no emphasis on the man. And the way a man is created, he submits naturally.
So he doesn't need to struggle with submission.
It's easy for a man to submit. I mean, put a man in a workplace and you don't need to tell him to submit to his boss.
True.
He will naturally submit. Put a woman in the same workplace.
We'll start fighting. I have examples around me.
So God understood the structure, the psychological structure of a man and a woman.
This explains it.
Okay, and that's why he gave those instructions. But it doesn't mean that the woman should not love. So the women out there that are listening, that are not falling in love, please fall.
we will love. Augustine is still here. Augustine, are you in love? Tell us.
I've been listening to the whole conversation. It's quite interesting. Is it a choice or is it just feeling? Well, to me, as a guy, as a man, what I will do is I will not choose somebody I do not love. Yes, if I love the person, because of course, as a man, I will use my 2 legs, walk into a family, pick somebody I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Where did you pick them from?
And this isn't just going to happen to any random person. I must have developed some kind of feeling before
you do
it
that.
metamorphoses into choice. So feeling and choice, like my chama has already explained, it goes both ways. So I cannot choose without having some amount of feeling for the person. Basically, I think that's my view on this particular question.
Okay, sorry, let me just add something, right? Okay, that is the reason, this is part of the reason I mentioned friendship. You cannot just see anybody and you be like, okay, this person, I want to marry this person. Maybe because they have money.
There has to be something.
There has to be something, even if it's not love, there has to be something that is replacing that love, which you also make love to develop. So if for instance I'm friends with Augustine and we gist, we laugh, like there's no boring time between the both of us. It's like if you marry, there's not going to be issue like that, because this person is someone I already know how to communicate with. Like I already know their flaws, I already know their weaknesses. But then if you choose that love, like Coach said, a woman loving a man and a man loving a woman is completely different. You can love a man without respecting him, and to him is not love. Like if you like do everything you want to do, without you respecting that man is not love. So I feel like the explanation like is completely different. A man can just and that's why a man can just see a woman and walk up to her and be like, okay, I fancy you, I like you. But for a woman it's quite different. It's very difficult. So that's why I said in this scenario of love, right? Women love differently, men love differently.
I think
so
I can agree.
Wisdom everywhere. Everybody's just shocking me with the amount of wisdom that is like coming out. So let's move to the main part of this podcast, the generational perspective. This is where the debate comes in. Do you think, do you think the older generation thinks love is more practical, and then do you think that the younger generation thinks love is more idealistic? In fact, the question should be, who do you think between the older and the younger generation, who is more practical and which one is more idealistic? I don't know if people understand the question.
As in the older generation, who are more practical? No,
generation? Do you think the older generation are more practical or more idealistic, and then vice versa?
Okay, so of course, that question, naturally, the older generation will be more practical. Of course, experience. They've had experience. and so they've gone through their highs and their lows in the marriage. And so there are some things that, let me give you an example. Now, the older generation, if for instance there's a conflict in the house, the wife will still cook the food for the husband to eat. The husband will still do the things that he's supposed to do in the home, and life will move on. In the younger generation, if there is a quarrel in the house, the lady may choose not to cook.
No, they will pack out first.
Or pack out. You know, yeah. So of course, experience helps a lot in forming your impression about how practical things should be. So yes, naturally, the older generation is more practical. That doesn't mean, however, that they are completely doing the right thing, because you can be so practical and you can at the end still miss out in what a relationship should actually have. That's why we have so many marriages now that you can almost call them a sham. So yes, on the face of it, they are married, they live in the same house, they go into the same house, you see them go into the same house, but once they get into the house, there are two different countries living in one house.
Let me say something about this thinking the older generation feel like is more practical. So like you said, even if there's a conflict in the house, in the older generation, they will still cook the food, they'll still do everything. But sometimes it gets like too far. Thank God you also mentioned that it gets too far. Like this woman that died because of abuse, I'm sure her people were telling her, no, she cannot leave the marriage. Osinachi. Yes, I always use her as an example, because she was in that marriage. I know she was not enjoying it, but for the fact that people kept on telling her, oh, she should not leave the marriage and things like that, that's one of the reasons why she ended up dying in the marriage. But that's something like younger generation we would not take. The pressure self, the way people will even like pressure you to leave that marriage, that's one of the things that I don't, that's why I don't think that we are like idealistic. Somehow we are, seeing social media stuff, you think that, oh, the love is just about gifts, vacations, things like that, but sometimes we don't really think about the inner part. But somehow also I still feel like we do. Let me personalize my issue. I don't know about the fellow Gen Zs.
Okay, yes. I also believe that the Gen Zs, somehow we are idealistic when it comes to love, right? Because if you watch the older generation, you see that I will say that there was a lot of endurance. The endurance was just everywhere. Like you are going to you endure most of this most of your husbands, you endure them, like whenever they beat you up, whenever they can basically do anything that they want to do, right? And you just let them be. That is not, for me, that is not a representation of love, right? So personally I believe that the Gen Zs, we can be more idealistic when it comes to love. I know that most of the time we are like blinded with the gifts, the money that comes with everything, but then I feel like we are more idealistic when it comes to love. But for the older generation, they are more practical. Like they practice whatever it is that comes. If you look for, okay, I think there is this. I'm not a Bible person, but then there's this verse, there's this chapter in the Bible that speaks about love is kind, love is gentle, love is. So I feel like the older generation, they are the ones that put these qualities right into practice. So that's my view on this.
Okay, so of course I will also do that path of agreeing that the older generation play this game better, in which we are personally I am learning from. So what we see nowadays is I am not saying particular that certain thing that happened then that got people stuck in a place of marriage and couldn't walk away, but there was some kind of system being set up to address all that. But what we see now is our generation, we don't even give room for that system to be implemented. We just go ahead and do whatever is in our mind, and maybe, just maybe, we get to find out later, okay, did you talk to somebody? Did you talk to... Then we had elders, we had people in the church that they could talk to, but we even have... Okay, what we have now is counselors. People don't even go to counselors till the thing escalates. When they now go to counsel, now discover that, okay, had it been you did this, what you should have done even before you do this other one, you now discover that, okay, they've already made a mistake of leaving, or doing what they shouldn't have done. And another thing is, this, our generation, we feel everything, marriage is the bed of roses. We talk of responsibility when we started. It is that responsibility, when that responsibility sets in, some people drop the ball, the whole butterfly stuff that was burning all over the body. When they now see the real thing, all right? When they now see the real thing, that it's actually, well, the butterfly stuff can still be flying, but there is more to it. There is work to be done. Unfortunately, it's that work that our generation are not even ready. I won't say they fail, but though some are trying, but some are not just even ready to try it first. I think that's where we got it all wrong. Again, the older generation, of course, does it better for me.
Alright, it's the fact that you people are like turning your backs on your fellow Gen Zs, like you're supporting the millennials in this one, but it's fine, it's alright. Next question is, do you think social media shapes our expectations of love? I'm going to give an example because I've seen this happen multiple times. You know how on Valentine's Day, people, you see them like in hotel rooms or like a room, they'll decorate like the beds and everything, flowers, or maybe will you marry me type of like designs and things like, yes, all those flowery settings with red, with chocolate, with all the gifts in Nigeria. When they are there, when people like post this type of things online, some people that are in more loving relationships will be there pressuring themselves. They don't know what's going on in this, because there's this thing that trended on TikTok one time, that the guy, they were always posting videos of them like enjoying themselves, honeymoon every day for marriage that lasted like for like 5-6 years. They are doing honey. People were like, oh my gosh, God when. I know I also said God when. I said God when and all committee. I literally said that only for us to find out that he has been beaten. So they are Muslim, right? She will always cover herself from everywhere, and then they'll be doing cute videos. Next thing, I saw that this guy has been beating her. Like if she opens her hijab, you see the scars. Like serious, he will literally hit her with objects, with the vase, with everything. She now has to do this sign thing to be able to get out of the marriage. And then when she reports to her mother-in-law, because I think her parents are late, but when she reports to her people and then her mother-in-law, they're like, no, stay, things like that. My point is, people like me that said oh and God when, I think that social media shapes like our perspective on relationships, because we will always want the flashy things, but we don't know what work, whether negative or positive work goes on in the background. So I want to know what you people think. Do you think social media actually like changes your perspective, or anybody that wants to be pressured will be pressured, or it's just like about you?
So media is a powerful tool. Media, social media, whatever media it is. And social media, because it's accessible to everybody, because everybody have access, because you can see everything, so it has shaped the way the young people see relationships. So for the young people also, I also think that because of the kind of messages that is out there, we've also noticed that young people think that every marriage has an issue, because of the reports and the negative vibes that we get about on marriage. So you come, for instance, in fact, I think many years ago, my husband and I decided to share a bit about our marriage to be able to tell people that good marriages still exist. Because I think that the people who have good marriages are more silent than the people who have bad marriages, right? So, of course, it's made it look like every marriage in this generation is not working. That's the way the young people look at it. But that's not true. There are more marriages working than there are the ones not working. It's just that the ones that are not working are the ones that is very loud. So yes, and then of course when it comes to what is in marriage, there's the, remember that media is media. Media will showcase to you the good part, the beautiful things. You know, it's what I want you to see that you will see. So young people have used that thing to create a perception about what marriage is. So if they get into a marriage and they don't see all the my husband does not lift my leg up in the morning, and they just think that marriage isn't working, which isn't true, because they do not have a good knowledge of what it is that marriage actually should be.
So of course I agree with you. Media is a very, very powerful tool in any aspect of life, truly. I mean, look at how America has shaped our view of what they are by media, by the movies we watch, by the things that are online. So you don't even know what is right or what is wrong. They intentionally use media to show you what they want you to see. That's how powerful media is. I mean, look at elections in recent times. All over the world has been shaped by media. So that's how powerful media is. And of course, social media now is more powerful than the regular media, what we will call the traditional media that we knew, TV, newspaper. Social media is there at the click of a button. Anybody can post anything online for you to believe. So definitely it's a huge influence on the way that marriage is perceived. Both a positive influence, like what we are doing at the Marriage Seal Academy, and a negative influence by what any other person is doing out there that is putting out all the negatives on marriage.
I think the young people will need to tell us whether social media has shaped their ideology.
Social media as a person, I'm always very, very careful. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm trying to pull out from the Gen Z.
Now, where do you want to go?
Really, yes, I'm really trying to pull out from that set of people. So, the truth is, the things I see when people, there are things people see on social media, just show me, have you seen? I just say, leave his content. Because what they do, they've designed the whole thing in such a way that our generation can't even decipher what is true and what is not. So whatever is being thrown at them, they feast on it. So once I see these things, that's what I do personally. I say this thing is content. Maybe for you to convince me that this thing is actually true, you need a whole lot of work, a whole lot of talking. Because we do not even know what is real and what is not because of social media. So if you get consumed by whatever you see, well, I definitely have work to do on your part. So social media, of course, while it can also be a blessing, it has a very negative part where, like my coach said, a whole lot of people whose marriages are working, we hardly see them talking. We hardly see them coming out to say, okay, look, we've been married for so number of years. Yeah, there have been challenges, but this is how and what we'll be able to do to come this far. It's always people battering people, killing people. Those are the things they are showing to us. And once these things,
bad news trend more.
Exactly. And once our generation gets these things, they work on it immediately. Everybody now forgets the good part of, and of course, which they are not shown. So to me, social media plays a very huge role here. But again, it also depends on how we perceive whatever we see on social media.
Okay. For the Gen Zs, I'm a Gen Z anyway.
You're not trying to pull out.
Yeah, so I'm forever a Gen Z, but people always say that I'm more millennial than Gen Z. Like I'm a combination of both because some things that Gen Z say, like I don't subscribe
Are
to
you trying
just
to turn
that.
your back on us?
No, I'm not turning my back. I'm just saying like I'm a mixture of both, right?
Okay.
So social media has brought what we call it has brought about what we call the overwhelming expectation. Like when you see relationships online and you see what people are doing for their partners, and then probably the person you are in a relationship or the person you are married to is not doing the same, you now feel like, okay, this person is not doing enough, even if they are doing their best, right? So I'm going to give an example. When my elder sister got married, so there's this bad attitude that the husband has. He has like he keeps malice. He's someone that knows how to, like, the king of malice. He's the one like once people have an issue, he can leave the house and you not see him for like 1 week. Like he just leaving the house for you.
That one is not just smiling.
Just what you want to do.
That one is bad behavior.
So when I came from Enugu, like I came to stay with them, so I noticed what was happening. I'm like, and my sister has always been complaining, but I was seeing like it's not something that is so big. So my sister complained to my mom. So she said that this is a friend that the husband does the same thing, but she has like there's this approach she's using, so she wants to use it. So what my mom advised her was that don't do this thing because someone else is doing it that is working for them. Just know how to follow this man. And honestly I cannot really tell the advice that she gave to my sister, but at the end of the day it worked, right? So what you see online, what people portray online most of the time is not even the truth. You see people that I have a cousin that the husband is bastardly rich. Like if you see the rich is not even here. He's like Obi Kubana then reached nest. So, but then when you see what she posts online, she goes to South Africa, she goes to wherever it is. If you are not in control of your emotions, right, you be like, you in short, anywhere you are, you just feel like you failed in life. You failed in relationship. In short, you have failed everywhere, right? But then I'm not going to say what is happening inside the marriage, right? But the marriage is not
Not sailing.
it's not sailing like that. So probably they are using.
What does it mean?
Probably they are using the
Yes.
social media, yes, to show that okay, this thing is working out and everything. So if you're not careful, especially Gen Zs that have access to every social media platform, like if you're not careful, you're going to allow that to influence your decision in choosing a partner, influence your marriage, like every aspect of your life. So that is something that we have to take note of.
I think I want to also say at this time that knowledge about marriage is something that is really missing in our generation, both our generation and yours. And that's because nobody pays attention to learning marriage. You know, when Noya was speaking, she said something. Her sister had a problem, then she ran to her mom. That's the circle. We don't go to people that know. You know, we just go to, that's what we're told. Or you go to your pastor who will pray for you. But you don't really go to someone who has the right knowledge to direct you. When you're sick, where do you go to? Do you go to your mother? You go to the hospital. So when your marriage has issues, you should actually find a marriage counselor. But no. It's just like when parents have issues. I'm a parent coach, of course, and of course, when parents have issues, you hear them asking their neighbor, their village people, their friends. It always backfires because you're not speaking to a professional, somebody who can really help you. So imagine, we don't even know whether the advice your mother gave was good or not. It's just that it looks like it's working. We don't even know. Yes. Do you get? So it is something that we really need to pay attention to, learning about marriage, and as God we have it. And I say that this generation is very fortunate. There are platforms where you can learn. The Marital Academy, you can learn about marriage. Even before you get married, you should be learning about marriage, right? And there are parenting platform where you learn about parenting. These things are learned, and it's something that we must pay attention to.
So our one of the questions I have been trying to ask since Noya was talking about her escapade of not loving first. So do you think two people can stay together without love? Do you think maybe because of financial buoyancy, mutual respect, compatibility, do you think love must not be there? You said love can develop in the long run. What if it never develops? Do you think they can still stay together?
Okay. This question is very,
so tell us.
It's very tricky. Okay, I'm just going to speak for myself, right? Okay. If there is financial
buoyancy,
there's financial buoyancy, the person is a kind person. There is no way I'm going to hear someone that is kind to me. To be honest, if he has other qualities, I strongly believe that.
What is person is kind and womanizes?
Okay.
No. That womanizing is something I cannot. Everybody has that their red flags, right? So womanizing is part of it. I cannot stay with someone like that. So that's that.
But do you think love is enough to make you ignore red flags? I think I want Chairman to answer this one, because imagine there's 100% love, and then maybe there's just 20%, just one red flag. As a matter of fact, it could be cheating, it could be beating. Do you think love
everybody has
should make you beat somebody you love
that you love? Okay. But do you think it should make you
maybe German, like you said?
All right, beautiful question again. Now, people ignore red flags and eventually end up on my table as a counselor, and that's so sad. When I ask people, they come and they say, oh, my husband does this, my wife does this. And I ask them, did you notice this before you got married? And then they go, yes, a little bit, but it was not as bad as this. Every injury you have that is not treated will only fester and become a bigger one. So red flags are real. Red flags must be looked at. I mean, if there's anybody who is listening to this right now and you are a young person, you are not yet married, ensure you come for our course at the Marital Academy titled Becoming Mr. and Mrs. That course will tell you what exactly you need to look out for before you get married so that you make the right choice. Because the choice of who you marry is the second biggest choice that you can ever make in life. The first one is salvation. The second one is who you marry. Who you marry will determine what you become in life. It will either make you or mar you. So when you see red flags, please run. Yes, there are some red flags that maybe can be modified, but I usually prefer that you run, especially if they are red. If they are orange, if there's anything like that, then you can think. But if they are red, I mean, like the one you mentioned, someone who womanizes. Somebody is already womanizing while dating you, and you still go on to marry the person will bring a horde of concubines into. He'll bring a horde of concubines into your house when you get married. So red flags are important. You must look out for red flags. And then on the question of whether you can stay with somebody who you don't really love, there are a lot of people who are in marriages because of other reasons, maybe for finance and other things, for stability and all of that. Yes, they stay in the marriage, but the question is, how happy are they in the marriage? Marriage is a long-term relationship. I often tell people, take away your age from 100. That shows you the minimum number of years you're going to stay married. So if you are 25, take it away from 100, you have 75 years to be married.
To do the calculation.
If you are 30, you take it away from 100, you have 70 years to be married to that person. So you want to make the right choice and make sure that that love aspect is actually part of what is making you decide on who you want to marry, so that you don't get frustrated along the line and cry every night when everybody is not seeing you, but put a smile up on social media during the day.
Interesting.
Mr. Augustine, do you think red flags, we should ignore them? You know, some people, these days, I'm always saying those red flags, they are red though, because some people used to like me. Let me stop saying people. Let me now open like the secret. Me, I used to be like, oh, this red flag, maybe it's wine red, or it's just like ox blood, or it's orange. Sometimes I always say it's pink, but it's red. It's really red. So Mr. Augustine, tell us if you should act like me or not.
You see, when I discovered something when I was still in my process of pulling out of the Gen Z group. So this is what happened. You see, when it comes to relationship, I personally, it's a personal stuff, I had purposeful relationship. I was fortunate to hear that word on time. That relationship must be purposeful. That's we don't do relationship to the point of a girl asking a guy, where are we going, and what is the plan. So we don't do that. So it means from the beginning, I've given my blueprint. So this is how I want us to row this boat. So we working on it together. Now, if you agree with me that this blueprint suits whatever it is that you want, then you start looking out for red flags. These red flags, personally, once it has to do with red, without orange, provided the color is not blue, it's not blue. So anything, that is me. I've had a relationship before, but at some point, my elder sister told me that if I continue like this, I might not find the person I'm looking for. Yes, because I was very picky. That's just it. Maybe it's my nature. Because any small things I'm not doing again. So be it. So my sister told me once that if I continue like that person I'm looking for is in heaven. I just said, okay, let's just see how this whole thing. What I mean is, I've had a relationship with, like I said, give me my blueprints. Definitely, we have what we are working with, we have where we are going. So this red flag. Once I had a girlfriend actually. This takes us back to the love part. The love was there, everything was there, but she wasn't the choice. Why? We started, everything was okay, but I started seeing, I wouldn't say they were red, but there were signs of red, kind of.
They were close to red.
Yes, because even the orange, when you allow the orange to keep, going on,
it becomes red.
Exactly. So I just had to, babe, see, this thing is not simply put. We are not looking at the same direction as it stands. So anything red, it might be me, it might be the other person saying about me, might be me saying about the other person. At least if there are things that I can see at that point, let it just be that I did not see these things when we started. But once I see it, I will not proceed. Simply put.
Okay, so in the issue of red flags, right? It's important that before you get into a commitment with someone, that you make a list. There's something they call the list, right? The first should be what I would like the characteristics of the person I would like. You just list it. Then the flaws I can manage. There are flaws you can manage, and there are flaws you cannot manage. Like someone here might be able to deal with cheating, right? They can say, okay,
Why would someone be able to deal with cheating?
People are different. People are different. Someone can be like, okay, if he's giving me money, like I've heard like Igbo babes say that you know everybody like is like Igbo girls, they like money and everything. But then so some people will say if he's giving me money or if he's very financially stable, he's contributing financially to my life and things like that. Even if he's cheating, I can just close my eyes. Like I just remove my eyes from there. So there are flaws that people can deal with, and then there are flaws that you can't deal with. So it's important to make a list and be like, okay, this is if I see this thing, I can cope. I can possibly cope and look for ways to improve that person. But then if you see that this person is displaying a characteristic that you know that this thing, I cannot work with this thing in the long run. Okay, for example, now there was this person that wanted to marry me when I think that was when I was in final year or so. So he was coming for my hand in marriage, but then we spoke a lot. Like he's someone that we are always speaking on the phone. So I'm always asking if when it comes to marriage, like relationship, I can just maybe not really pay attention. But when it comes to marriage, I'm always paying attention. I'm always asking.
Is there a difference between relationship and marriage?
No, like some relationship just start and you don't want to maybe pressure the person. Yes, so you are just taking it easy. But then when you know that this thing is getting serious, there are some certain things you're supposed to like put eye and ask. So I asked this guy, like I asked him his body count, right? He said his body count is like the ones he can remember is 1,000. He's remembering, like he even added the ones you can't remember. So I just the first thing that came to my mind, the first thing I told him was that you're a womanizer. I said, no, that is it's how men are. Like it can happen sometimes. I said 1,000 is the one you can remember.
I said
so the thing must be that every girl around you slept with them. So he's left. Yes. So initially he told me this, and I'm like, okay, let me just. I think then I was a bit naive. I'm like, okay, let me just see, since he's coming from marriage, let me just see if I can deal with this, because I asked him, he said, okay, that he's no longer like that he's in the past. So maybe just telling me for me to just say yes and things like that. But at a point I'm like, this is something I cannot, even in marriage I cannot. It now goes to a point, there's this last discussion we had, I'll never forget that last discussion. He now said, in our marriage that sometimes, so if you want to spice off the marriage, you bring one extra person. So we have an extra person, maybe so we can do threesome, and that he's someone that likes threesome and things like that. I'm like, hey God, why is this guy finding every reason for me to run away? Like,
what's that red flag?
Yes,
you're trying to turn the red flag.
Exactly. So once I heard that one, I'm like, no, I cannot. I didn't even allow him to. Like, he spoke to my parents once, but I did not even allow him to come to the house, come to the door. I did not allow him. So it's important that we all know what works for us and what doesn't work for us. Because if I'm someone that, okay, I don't know if I can cope with this, it means that probably I would have been married to a serial cheater by now. I will not be crying. At my young age, I'll be crying. So it's very important for us to take note of that.
Okay, so this entire podcast, I've unlearned. My brain is on fire right now. So we're going to wrap up, but before that, we're just going to do like a Gen Z versus millennial love lingo. I know that people won't understand some of the things, what they mean. This is us setting you up. I don't know if this man that is trying to pull out from the Gen Zs will also know some of these things. But we're sure going to ask if you want to join them. This is you will not even need to join them willingly. We'll push you now. So the first thing is, do you people know what delulu is?
Delusional.
Okay, what of Reese?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay, Mr. Augustine, let's know if we're pushing you away right now.
Push me away because
You don't understand what this is.
I do not know what that is.
You know what Reese is? Oh my God.
This what does it mean?
Tell us.
Okay, Reese is swag. right? Someone that is swagalicious. Yes,
Yes,
like
so if I'm dropping
he
you
looks
for
he
you, like,
looks
You're the cockroach in my cupboard. You're the,
yes.
Oh, wow.
That's really
Both in dressing, the person knows how to dress, the person knows how
Knows
to
whatever
say
you
the right
do,
things
eh,
that you
well
want to
learned.
hear.
Wow.
exactly.
It's a good learning point.
The next one is ghosting.
Oh, no.
Of course.
Okay.
We know.
Okay.
Ghosting just means that you
You're blank
ignore
the
the person, you blank.
Yeah.
At least I got that one.
Yeah.
So the last one, situationship.
Relationship, I know that
I know
one.
that one too. That's
If
when
you are in, you are not. It
you're
is
not, neither in or
a
out.
situation of amade.
So at this point, the first thing I'm going to say is that as the judge of this entire game session, Mr. Augustine, we hereby dump you. You have been dumped.
Okay.
Also,
Thank you so much.
it's as if the millennials even know more than you. So I don't know if you don't even stand with them. I'm sure they're going to dump you too. So you're gonna find a new place to stay. So that's it for our games, because apparently the millennials won this round. At least they got more than they lost. So yes, the last thing we're going to do is for Chairman and Coach Wendy to tell us what they wish younger people knew about love.
Okay, so this is what I would say to the young folks out there that are listening. There's a lot of knowledge, real knowledge on love, relationships that you don't have. A lot of the knowledge that you have right now is based on what people, most of them misguided, come on social media to put. You'd want to go seek out real knowledge. Get real books, sit down with books and read. Go for courses. We have books and courses at the Marriage Seal Academy that you can actually go for and learn what you really need to learn about marriage. So my wish for every young person listening right now is that you seek knowledge and seek it very desperately.
Okay, so what I wish young people know about my love, right?
Yeah.
Is that you can't love anybody who do not love God in the right ways, because God himself is the one that actually shows us what love is. It's just like when we talk about the submission process. I usually say that you can't submit to someone who can't submit to God, because it's an important aspect of every part of your life. If you are going to fall in love with somebody who has fallen in love with God, that way it makes it easier for the person to understand what love truly is and what it is that you guys are doing. So please, whoever it is that you're meeting, you are getting along with, please let it not be somebody who wants threesome, or somebody who wants one ring or this thing somewhere. And yes, and that would be my advice for young people.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we Gen Zs and the extra person, I'm sure that we've been able to learn a lot.
From next year, I'm out. Okay.
Okay, we are waiting. You're not even getting to them because you're not able to even know the things they know. So thank you very much for listening, and this is where we end it with Relationship Bites with Wendy Ologe. See you next episode. I hope you like this one, so I'm sure you will like and even love the next one. Thank you. Bye.